What up, though, my G's? Y'all should know what it is. It is BKA Watts, one half of the Blerds and Clips Podcast, right here on the Pro 3 ENT Network. As always, delivering a flawless, repetitious intro, joined by my partner in crime on the first motherfucking day of the year, on y'all ass, right here. Happy New Year, niggas. Yeah, niggas going down.
Hi there. It's the award-winning Vigatron. And I decided to not be blah because I know you would all hate that. So I decided to put on the mask and do what I'm supposed to do. Because I'm a professional. Yeah. And it's 2022. We were promised jetpacks and flying cars.
Yo, nigga, it's supposed to be so much wild shit happening in the 2022. But you know what I'm saying? I ain't tripping. Fuck it. We are out here in these streets, and anybody who watches this show, that means you know, that means we at the crib. We're in my basement and shit. You know what I'm saying? This is where we broadcast this show from, at least. And shit, you know, other shows that you're delighted by as a part of the Pro 3 ENT Network, such as the Everything and Then Some Pod and That Music-ish podcast, all happen right here in this one space. But don't forget, as we venture into this new year, you can also come and produce your podcast with us down at Connect HQ, where the Pro 3 headquarters operates when it comes to the podcast division. We also have our music studio down at Connect HQ, which is Connect Studios, for those of you who are familiar with Shad Hits. Of course, we also have AD Jackson down there with Brilliant Cuts Barber Salon, Barber Studio, should I say, where you can go and get the crispiest lineup. And Cool Vision, of course, huge shout out to Cool Vision for everything he does, from photography to video work, product shooting, etc. All those things are available. Make sure you holla at your boy, because whatever you need, we are your one-stop shop. All right? Especially if you're trying to get into this podcast game. Now, with that being said, Vig and I have, it's the first day of the year. It's the first show of the year, which means 2021 is officially behind us. So everything that was coming out last year, we can now look at and judge to determine whether or not last year was in total a good year or a bad year for film and television. And also, we can
your whack ass mixtape.
Oh. Yeah. And also, we can give y'all our best and worst TV shows and movies of 2021. I'm hyped for that.
Motherfucker, you didn't say nothing about worst.
I did. Oh, yeah.
This nigga.
Oh, go ahead. For once, I don't think I'm fucking up.
You ain't fuck up.
Yes. Nigga.
Nigga, I skimmed through your shit, nigga.
I know.
Like nigga skimmed through Jay-Z albums.
You right. Do you fools listen to music, or do you just skim through it?
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
All I saw was best, and I was like, yeah, whatever, nigga.
I feel you. So, now, with that being said, I didn't type it out precisely, because I just know what some of the worst shit is for me.
Well, hold up. Are you about to go into this?
No, not yet.
I'm about to say, I'm like, no.
No.
Go ahead.
No. But I was just saying that I just know, because some of this shit just pissed me off so bad this year that I sat through it. And I'm like, And then some of the shit that I saw this year legitimately surprised the niggas. So some of the shit was like, all right, this came out of nowhere. That's dope. That's good shit. So I'm looking forward to it. We did not record last week, so of course we got to cover Hawkeye, the finale. We already went pretty what?
I just swore we did talk about it.
Did we?
I think we did.
I thought it came out last week though.
No, it didn't. It came out the week before Christmas. It was right before Christmas.
You're right. Nigga, last week was Christmas.
No. It was the same week that Spider-Man came out.
No, the week that Spider-Man came out was the episode that they showed Kingpin.
Well, then still, it would have been the next
the Kingpin, they showed Kingpin at the end of the episode that came out 2 days before Spider-Man came out. We recorded that weekend. That was the 17th, or that was the 18th.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we didn't, because I didn't talk about my dismay of whatever.
Yeah, so we gotta cover the finale of Hawkeye. Have you watched The Witcher yet?
No.
Did you watch the first season of The Witcher?
No.
It wasn't bad.
Okay.
It wasn't great. It wasn't bad.
Oh, that sounds like a ringing endorsement. Let me get right on that.
I mean, I'm saying like I wasn't disappointed. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna definitely watch season 2. I was looking forward to season 2.
Ain't enough hours in the day.
But I only started it. Now I also completed Money Heist, the whole shit, because there's 5 seasons of that shit apparently. So that's finished for me. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was like super important that was really coming up that I've been watching. And I can't really say that there has been. I kind of been bouncing around different fucking IPs.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not talking about nothing new. So, no. I mean, I get it, but I don't. Because, I mean, you talking about shit that you can't fully say, oh, yeah, it's this or it's this. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that shit.
Oh, no, Money Heist is fucking great.
Well, so you say, maybe. But again, in that same way of me having to really defend shit now where I'm like, nah, if I don't watch that shit and I'm not immediately on it, I'm not about to pretend as if, yeah, I'm about to dedicate all that time to it. Like, I started watching Shameless. I have not probably gone a day without watching an episode or two.
For sure.
Getting through it. Like, I'm in season 6 now.
Goddamn.
At this point. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so,
you moving through them hoes.
Right. Like at least one per meal. And sometimes I'll let 2 or 3, like I think earlier today I actually let 3 play through. Okay. I was doing nothing. But yeah. So I'm on it. I have some issues with that too, but again, there's a big difference between me forcing myself to do some shit and me just doing some shit that feels good. The same reason why I've only still seen 1 episode of Hit Monkey and I've still not watched the 10th episode of MODOK. I
feel you. Because, yeah, I'm about to say, I have not finished Hit Monkey, even though I was supposed to.
See, that's what I'm saying. So, if you can't convince me to be like, yo, this shit is really, really dope, you have any lingering idea of, you're like, it's all right. Yeah, that's exactly where the fuck it's going to stay.
Okay, I feel you.
Yeah, don't come to me with that bullshit. Come on, it's all right. So, no, nigga.
But the thing is, though, there's so much all right that low-key the all right be like, all right, because of how much trash there is.
I get that, but again, still all right is still all right. And you can compare that to the trash, but I mean, what it is that there's always been tons of things that there's a ton of shit that's only all right, but we don't have the same kind of access to go through all of it, especially with streaming. Streaming is now like, oh yeah, I can just watch this now. Before it used to be like, this comes on this network at this time. If you don't have the time to watch it, you don't get to see it. Now you get to see the majority of your shit of when you decide to click play.
True.
So we have way more access. I ain't trying to do it. So it's going to have to be something that really makes it worth my time for me to do that shit. The same reason why I understand, and I think I either read something or watched a video talking about how people kind of keep gravitating back to certain shit that they like. The same reason why I've seen every episode of, or like have gone through so many episodes of The Simpsons, Office, and Community over and over again, versus me saying, all right, I'm gonna venture in and watch this shit that people say is I ain't doing that. So there's that.
I get you. Oh, okay. We got spam in the chat. All right, it's going down. So listen, real quick. That'll be the last time I reference spam in the chat. But if you are watching us live, which you can do in one of 3 locations, that could be over at twitch.tv/BKA Watts, or it could be on the Pro3 ENT YouTube channel, or over at Mark Watts on Facebook. If you are watching us live, we prefer Twitch because, you know what I'm saying, that's where it's going down at. But tap on in with us over there, and if you do so, you are able to drop into the chat, put in your questions, concerns, comments, and show topics that you can also email to us at blerdsandclips@gmail.com, which you'd see if you were watching us live. But you also can just join in on the conversation, drop in exactly what it is that you think about what we talk about as we go through an episode. Interact with us live, be a part of the show, be a part of the gang. You know what I'm saying? Get down with us just like that on the live, or you can wait and then we hit the streaming services. Listen, you got options, all right? We try to make sure that y'all have those, because who doesn't like options? Well, I guess indecisive people.
Yes.
I was so quick to come up with an answer for that in my mind.
Yeah, I was paying attention, but I wasn't all at the same time.
It was damn near instantaneous.
This shit couldn't have come out in 2021, but whatever.
Oh yeah, looking at the joints, man. Listen, it's a lot.
No, there's something I'm swearing I watched last year that's on this list, but I'm like, maybe I just. Oh, you know what? I think it wasn't officially released until this year, and I actually had the bootleg.
Okay, that's possible. That happened when I watched Paranormal Activity, the first one when that came out. I saw that like somebody had put out because you know they was making they runs on the festival market first. The festival circuit, and somebody uploaded that bitch clean as fuck, and I watched it on the internet the year before it actually like hit the theater, and the one that I saw had a different ending.
Well, the one I'm specifically talking about is City of Lies. I'm sorry. Why did I throw a V in that shit?
Oh, should be happening.
Yeah, that, and I'm sure I watched that last year off of the download that I had for like feels like a year or two. The shit with Johnny Depp and
I'm not even hip.
Oh, it's the telling of the Biggie murder from the cop's perspective of the main cop that was doing the investigation and how it sort of linked in with other LAPD cops and some other shit going on. I can't think of the guy's name, but yeah, it was a Johnny Depp movie that they filmed probably a few years ago. And it kind of got shelved for a minute. And I think it officially got released in some manner this year. Well, this year. God damn it. It's 2022 now. Whatever. Another trip around the sun. It got released in 2021. But like I said, I definitely did not watch it last year. I had to watch it in like 2020.
Excuse me.
So that's what I mean. It's stuff like that. But yeah, it was basically like about Biggie's murder. But like I said, they weren't going so much hardcore in depth about the investigation of the murder, but like I said, more about the connections of the LAPD officers and other gangbangers or whoever that got killed, like surrounding it. Mm-hmm. So it was one of those stories. But the same dude did the dude that was involved, and I do believe I think he did an interview with Vlad maybe a couple of years ago. I didn't watch it, but like I said, he's somebody that's known. But yeah, Johnny Depp played him in this. So, but nonetheless, outside of that, so eventually we'll get to our best and worst list. So we might as well get this Hawkeye shit out of the way.
Yeah. So you didn't like it?
Well, it wasn't that I didn't like it. I mean, overall, it was fine. I mean, I want them to. I understand now, like, I don't like really doing a whole bunch of theorizing about the Marvel shows and everything, because part of me, like, doesn't give a fuck, but what I do want them to put certain things to rest. So I'm pretty convinced at this point, aside from all that other speculation by the other nerds and pundits like us, that that Kingpin is not the Kingpin from the Netflix series, nor is Matt Murdock the one from the Netflix series. I think they're just doing the smart thing and using the same actors to play the same characters, but it is not the Netflix versions of them, specifically because of the fact that you wrap Hawkeye up with Kingpin's been revealed at the end of the episode. It pretty much starts off very Kingpin-centric with them getting into it, but Kingpin is way stronger and more like the comic book version where he's almost like super.
Yeah, he looked bigger too.
Well, I know they were doing that from film perspective of how you frame it up and things like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he low-key looked wider to me, should I say.
Well, again, I get it, but like I said, when you look at it, certain things like kind of backed up from it, it didn't really seem like he was that much bigger, but like I said, I think it was forced perspective based on the angles that they decided to use to give that impression for him to be that much bigger without it being unrealistic. If that makes sense. Because when you think about him fighting Kate Bishop and all of that, it wasn't like he was just so much bigger. It seemed relative, but again, they were doing it.
What happened?
I don't know.
Huh.
So that's one of those things of like, you got to wonder, did the camera go to sleep or something?
No, because that's what this is for. Just a second, fine folks. We'll be right back at you. And back like we goddamn never left. Bitch, you already know what it is.
Nigga, where you been, bitch?
Where you been, bitch? Bitch, what you trying to do, bitch?
Stay away from my man, bitch.
Oh, wow. That did happen this year. Jeez, look at that. Look at these options. Ooh, that's rough, bruh.
Well, that's only if you've seen all that shit. So anyway,
I have seen so much, but there's a lot that I didn't bother to watch this year.
Right.
There's a lot of shit that I just knew, like, oh, that shit was just, it just wasn't for me. Like, I didn't want to see that shit. Didn't end up being for your boy. There was a lot of shit that had mixed ass reviews, and I'm like, am I really gonna fucking bother with that shit? Because I could be doing something the fuck else with my life. Granted, I felt like having this podcast, this would be the year that I watched more shit than I ever watched. And in all actuality, I think I probably fucking did. But at the same time, I think while watching so much more, it was just different types of video content as a whole. Because there was, of course, movies. But it was so, I've never watched this much TV.
Got you. Well, hold that thought. So we're not all over the fucking place.
For sure.
Because we were talking about Hawkeye.
True. You're right.
Hey, you don't want to, so like, man, these niggas get high. Little do they know.
Right. We are the lowest niggas.
So,
we are the lowest niggas y'all know.
So the whole idea of you get to this point, Kingpin has been revealed. Well, I shouldn't say Echo yet because she's not actually technically Echo yet.
But I mean, shit, her show on the goddamn schedule.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. It's only because motherfuckers know that that's what she's supposed to become. So it's like Maya's pissed, trying to figure out what's going on with her homeboy. They're still.
I feel like are they supposed to be like love interests?
I didn't get that impression at first. I thought they were just like really good friends, like damn near best friends or something. But I don't know.
I felt like they was like love interests, but she was still the boss.
Maybe.
And especially like when he was like, let's just go away, you know, because I feel like it's always either the love interest or the person that wants to be the love interest real bad is like, let's just go away together. We can just leave all this behind, me and you. And he was hitting her with that. I was like, oh, okay, I see what it is. Because he want to take them cheeks away.
I feel like, does he hit it with the one leg?
I was just about to say, nigga, like, I don't know, bruh. That's crazy.
I would always be intrigued. I mean, I know I would.
Or if he be holding that motherfucker by the sneaker and swinging it around.
Wow. There goes our handicapped demographic.
You know what?
There goes our prosthetic demographic. Well, no, it shouldn't be, because we're saying that that prosthetic ain't gonna stop us from smashing.
You're right.
So, no discrimination.
No.
Because I still would do everything I normally would do, except, not join a ass kicking contest with her.
For sure.
Well, that don't really count, because I guess since she got the prosthetic, she can kick a bunch of ass, since that's a halfway relative real for her. But anyway, so aside from that, Hawkeye and Kate still trying to wrap shit up, and finding out that the big man is behind it. They've been telegraphing it, and like I said,
it felt a little. I think it was rushed.
Well, it was rushed as fuck. I haven't even gotten to my complaints yet, because I have a couple of things that are real nitpicky for me about the end that I'm going to get into eventually. But then also Yelena and her whole quest to kill Hawkeye just being on the table. So yeah, see, grown worthy.
Yep.
So, this whole episode, so overall, I'm not going to judge the episode by the episode, just series for series. And it's like, okay, the series is fine, whatever. It's not the best, but it was fine. My nitpicks with that final episode are as follows. There's nothing more that I hate than you've been going 6 episodes with your hair one way, and then you show up to the final battle, so to speak, with your shit all down and luxurious, and you got makeup on. Nigga, why? Why?
I think the widows have to be fine.
I'm not talking about Yelena. I'm talking about Maya.
Oh, she was looking right.
I don't think so. I loved her perfectly fine in every other
with the
episode.
little bun up.
Yes.
No.
She had her French braid or whatever the fuck.
I like the long hair.
No, I didn't. It didn't make sense. Well, probably because I'm very anti-makeup. That's probably what got me the most. It's like, oh, now you show up 6 episodes, you got lipstick on and shit. Like, what the fuck is this? Why would you leave to act like you're gonna go, but then you show back up like you dolled up and shit? Like, what the fuck is...
Revealing her new look for how she gonna look in the show, for how she gonna look in Echo.
Nah, she better put on that goddamn Ronin suit in Echo. But,
that'd be raw.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
If you want to make it like the comic, I hope she does that shit. That's what I want to see actually happen. But I'm sure they won't do it because MCU loves showing actors' faces.
For sure.
So, and especially with her having to be expressive because she can't actually hear. Yeah, that's going to be not very likely. So nonetheless, that bothered me to death. And then the whole Yelena trying to kill Hawkeye and doing the typical, you could just explain some shit and be done with this, but people just refuse to explain shit to make it make sense. Like, you could just say, hey man, we had to get this motherfucking rock and one of us had to die to get the rock and we fought each other to go do this shit. But no, you didn't do that shit. And then basically for this broad to be there all like sad-faced and shit, wanting to kill you and then deciding to be like, all right, fuck it, and cry her way out of killing you. I fucking hate this shit. So it was just so wrapped up with some stupid ease where it's like, you really didn't need to do this in the first place. There was no payoff here for that. So those are my main 2 gripes. Other than that, it's like, whatever. It's meh.
See, that's the thing. It is exactly that for me as well. And from the perspective of the fact that Jerry, what up though? That I feel like that's one of, That's not a nitpick, man. I mean, like, to me, that's not a nitpick. I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel like that's valid.
What's valid?
What you're saying. I feel like that's valid. The same way that, like...
you're just saying, like, it's not really a nitpick, but just the fact that it's them dry. It's a writing flaw.
Yeah, like, but I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. And that shit... Right. But I'm saying, but that happens so much... Just like and the thing is, it's kind of making me think like this is a Marvel issue to a degree, because like I said, that's the exact same shit. And I feel like I just mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but it's a very similar thing to Vision not telling Wanda that Vision is out there before he fucking disintegrated in the Hex at the end of WandaVision.
Yeah, that too.
That's frustrating to me because it's like you see how distraught the person you love so much is. You see how it's fucking her up that you're not gonna be here, but you know that the actual you is out there in the world, and instead of telling her so she can go find him and figure it out, and because you unlocked his fucking memory and mind so he fully knows who he is and who she is, you chose not to say shit and let yourself disintegrate and her just go off fucking distraught into the world with a fucking superpowered witch book.
Insert romantic statement.
Exactly though. But it's like when you're in that situation and it's like you have a fucking trained super assassin trying to kill you because you're responsible. She think you're responsible for the death of her sister. When little do she know, you tried your damnedest to sacrifice yourself instead. Why don't you fucking say that?
Nah, we ain't got time for that.
That's fucking frustrating. That's not a nitpick. Because it's like, we know. It would be different if we didn't see what happened between Hawkeye and Black Widow.
Right.
For us as the audience to know, but because we know, and therefore we know he could fucking alleviate the situation by breaking it down exactly. Because even to the point where she stopped actively trying to kill the nigga, he still didn't tell her the details. He still gave her a vague ass semi-explanation.
Yeah, I know, because it would have just been too unbelievable in the world where motherfuckers just vanished and dusted out and then came right back.
Come on, bro.
How would she believe his story? How, Watts? How? Doesn't make sense.
No, Jerry, listen. And this is the problem. This is the problem. He could have opened his motherfucking mouth and explained what happened to stop her. And instead, he decided to do their elaborate ass secret Black Widow whistle.
Oh yeah, that's what pissed me off.
Nigga, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Explain what the fuck happened.
Yeah, that contrived convenient shit.
The nigga literally said, wait. Didn't say nothing for a second. Licked his lips. so he could get the appropriate pucker, nigga. And then did the secret whistle.
How would you know that, man?
How would you know that whistle? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God, bro, that shit is frustrating. Like I said, that's not a nitpick. That is real.
I feel it. Yeah, so nonetheless.
It also blew Hawkeye's lips. Okay. In Russia. Bitch whistled in Russian. It goddamn didn't get murdered. Ain't that some shit? A whistle Russia saved his life. In Soviet Russia.
Right.
Whistle blow you.
Thanks for stealing my joke, asshole.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that's where you was going with that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Damn. Vig said it first. he thought of it.
It's fine, nigga. I actually grew up in the era of Yakov Smirnoff. Nigga, you were barely alive.
Yeah.
When I was watching this nigga on, I forgot what the fuck the name of that show was. He used to be, it was a show with him and a bunch of other people, a bunch of other Americans playing immigrants, and they were all at this school learning how to do some shit. Now I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't even fucking remember the shit. But yeah.
But ultimately, I guess the show is fine. I'm thinking hard as to where to rank it amongst the Disney Plus Marvel shows. Because we got, what, 4? 5.
Yeah.
Hawkeye, Loki, WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, What If?
I'm not counting What If.
Why?
Because What If is...
It's all them actual niggas, though.
But that's not the point. It's animated and it's off to the side. Definitively, the live action shows are canon directly with the movies. What If, you can just kind of play around with whatever.
Until they officially introduce a What If character into the shit.
That's still a stretch. So I don't count that. Because again, the medium is different. We hold live action shows accountable for shit that you don't hold animated for. So like if you watch a live action show, you're like, man, the action or, the action scenes were kind of whack, or, the CGI didn't quite look right. You can't say that with the animated, because the animated, they can do whatever they want to do. And you're like, oh, that shit look dope. So you can't really hold them even to the same standard.
For sure.
So I do not count those as...
So then of the 4 live action, I don't know, man. I think I would put it at, like, because they all have some really dope point in them, but they all also have some really fucking disappointing point in them.
Understood, but I don't rank them because they're all vastly different to me. I just rank them based on the idea of, like, do I like them or not? Yeah, I liked all of them enough to say approved, but I'm not comparing them because they're not the same show. Because again, we kind of talked about this.
Oh, but they all a part of the same story, though.
They're not a part. You can't really,
we rank the Marvel movies, and they're all different.
We rank the Marvel movies, but the Marvel movies, I guess you kind of have a point there. But the Marvel movies, for the most part, in their phases, were all leading toward the same thing. These have been split off enough where they almost sit on them their own. Like they're part of the same universe, but they sit on their own. WandaVision is more related to Loki, maybe in some sense that we don't know yet. But again, they're not really all the same. Because you're telling, like, let's say if you look at Loki, you're looking at Loki is some futuristic, it's more magic based. You're putting that up against Hawkeye. They're really not the same thing. It's just like certain Marvel movies that, yeah, we do rank them based on the way that we like them. Mm-hmm. But I don't really look at them in that way because I look at WandaVision and I say, I ain't even really like the first 3 episodes, even though the third one is where stuff started to happen. And then when we really look at it, it was probably only like a 4 or 3 episode streak where I really gave a fuck about WandaVision.
Yeah.
Because I didn't love the last episode. So it's like, is that basically saying it's the worst one? No, I'm not really saying that, but it's the one that I enjoyed probably the least, arguably.
Overall.
And then even Loki, it started off great, but then kind of got boring to me in the middle, and then it ended fine. And it's kind of like the same thing with that. So there's always some issue. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I can say I consistently went through liking, like, it may not have been like every episode was the absolute highlight of highlights, but I consistently enjoyed each episode of that, of saying, all right, I want to see what happens next week. I want to see what happens next week. All of those didn't have the same effect. Hawkeye was enough kind of in that same vein with being a little bit more grounded, where I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next week, but I was still invested enough there was no definitive episodes between those two that I can say they bored me to tears where I'm like, bruh, I really want to skip this episode if I had to rewatch.
Right.
But Loki and WandaVision had definitive episodes, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to watch those episodes again.
Well, I can say it like this. I haven't gone back and watched any episodes of any of those shows since they finished.
I started on some boredom. I put Loki on one day, but I mean, I went to sleep on it, so that's the only one. No, I take that back because I actually downloaded all of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So in some way, I've had them on again, but that's really about it. But yeah, I haven't really gone back to watch anything because, again, I'm not going to start at the beginning with WandaVision knowing full well I'm going to be mad for definitively 2 episodes just to get to a third to say, okay, something kind of happens, but I'm still just waiting for the 4th episode before something starts, before it really starts to get interesting to me. So, again, like I said, we could always choose to rank something. I just don't look at them as consistent enough for me to want to rank them in that way. I just take them separately in that case. But the movies, I guess I feel a little bit different about, but whatever.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I probably just look at it as, just another part of the whole Marvel machine and just see it like that. It's not as if the ranking makes a fucking difference. Not as if,
No, it doesn't.
But it's just one of those things where I'm like, which one of these hoes did I really, really enjoy the most, and which one would I want to see more from, if any of them, and which one would I absolutely not want to see shit else from?
Then if you're saying it like that, then I don't want to see shit else from WandaVision.
For sure.
Without question. I don't even have to debate that.
I can appreciate the concept.
Right, but I'm saying once we're done with, I don't need to see no more WandaVision. Not that they're necessarily planning on doing it, because if you got Multiverse of Madness and then going back into the movies, hopefully they should have no reason to revisit that. I would never want to see a second season of WandaVision based on what I saw the first time. What can you do? I don't really give a shit enough. But everything else I can see a continuation, or like I said, a movie of, but hopefully Hawkeye's done in the sense that they just move on and pass the torch to Kate Bishop, and whatever they're doing.
That's genuinely what I feel like they're doing.
Well, yeah, it's what they're doing. So I mean, eventually, I would rather them go ahead and just set this groundwork for this Young Avenger shit that we all know is coming in some way, or whatever the new incarnation of the Avengers is, with them getting their replacements. They're just setting that up.
Right. The thing, but this is the thing. I feel like the exit for Iron Man and Captain America were pretty well earned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had plenty of time with them to get to that point, to build up to us eventually not having them. And Endgame was a great place. Felt appropriate, didn't feel forced. By comparison, well, not even by comparison, because there's not even anything necessarily to compare. It's like we got all the way to the end of that shit, and everybody keep on going, oh man, how's it gonna be now, man? Like, all the Avengers is gone. It's like, nigga, we lost 2 characters.
Right.
Out of like 75. Who the fuck is y'all niggas talking about? All of them niggas are still there. But the same way that Iron Man and that Cap are gone, like, them niggas was getting to a point as well where not necessarily so much Chris Evans, but like finally getting to a point of like, this shit getting old, or he getting old, like both of them. But that shit applies to everybody else too. Them niggas all been there since the beginning for the most part as well, and are becoming old niggas. So when are we gonna start seeing them shift their way out? And I feel like to this point they have been doing a pretty good job of implementing new characters and other motherfuckers into the stories that could come in and kind of take these people's place and usher in the new motherfuckers without it being like all of a sudden, hey, this nigga's not there no more. New person.
Right.
I feel like they handling it well so far, because it's almost like at this point where we are starting to talk about it, the replacements for a lot of the Avengers are already either in place or set up to step into place. And it's like, oh shit. Like I said, so it feel like a actual natural progression and transition.
Right.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, it's not a big thing for me about them moving on. That's what I'm saying. I just wish they would just kind of, I don't want to say to hurry up and do it, but I do want to see these next couple of things hit where they could feasibly have a reason to. So, I mean, I guess once you get past the point of Ironheart and Miss Marvel and like I said, well, you already got Kate Bishop's kind of there. Like, I just want them to kind of step aside and them go ahead and put it through. But they've done the right thing, and you don't have to feel this big transition of being like, oh, man, how did they just replace so-and-so? Like, they didn't just replace whoever. Like, it came through in such a way where it makes sense. And then being that Sebastian Stan and Clarence.
Anthony Mackie.
I don't know. Considering that, I can only think of saying Clarence because of the joke. I've only seen 8 Mile once, and I didn't even like the shit. So
it was okay.
It's weird. Like I said, I just couldn't even think of Anthony Mackie at the time. And I ain't gonna say loved. I really liked She Hate Me, even though that's like one of the Spike Lee movies that nobody has fucking seen. For as weird.
You are correct, nigga, because I have no clue what you're talking about.
So. I'm not going to say you should put this on your list per se, but this is one of those, yeah, you should kind of be hip. So She Hate Me from years ago. I don't know what year it came out. I feel like it was late 90s, but it was probably very, very early 2000s. But it starred Anthony Mackie and Kerry Washington and probably somebody else. Do you ever remember the football player that was playing for the XFL called He Hate Me? I don't know what his real name was, but
wait,
remember XFL where they didn't have like their names on, they had like their little catchphrases and some shit.
Oh no, I never got into it.
Neither one of us watch sports, but I was.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was like I was only interested because it was connected to WWF and I was into wrestling, but I was like, it's still football. Right. I'm not watching that shit.
Okay, so it came out in 2004. I knew it was like early 2000, but anyway. Anthony Mackie plays this dude, kind of like business type of whatever. Basically, he ended up meeting or getting set up in a situation with a bunch of women that either were having trouble having kids or some of them were even gay and needed to have kids. And he was basically fucking all these broads, impregnating them.
Okay.
But I mean, that's basically the thing. I mean, there's of course, there's subplots abound with it, but yeah, that's basically the thing. Was like he got fired from his job, he was exposing motherfuckers that was doing corrupt shit, and then basically he ended up in a situation where he needed money and he found out that he could basically impregnate lesbians for profit, and he basically ended up having all of these kids at the end of the day because he was getting to do it the right way, so he was having sex with all these different lesbians and to make his money. So that's the basis of it. But I mean,
okay.
So yeah, it's not the typical Spike Lee movie that you may think of. You think it like it's this, like it was one of his. He's trying some different shit, but it wasn't half bad kind of things. But nobody really talks about it.
Bro, like I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I'm really trying to think hard what I've seen that nigga in that I genuinely liked him in, and it's something about that nigga I don't like.
I understand. Like, even when I see him in interviews, it's something about him that I'm just kind of like, I just feel like if I was in a room with him, I just kind of be like, man, I just want this nigga to shut up. Like, I'm not even like, I'm not even like stewing about it. Like, I want to fight Anthony Mackie. Like, it ain't that deep. It's just kind of like, I don't know if I want to be around the dude, but at the same time, I kind of want to find a reason to be like, I don't have a real reason to dislike you, so I want to find a reason to like you, but I just can't find that reason to like him. I want some complete surface level shit.
Well, I can't even really, I can't think of anything that I've seen in the game where I was like, oh, powerhouse performance.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that either, but I mean, I think it's still relative to story and direction in some cases. So,
well, that's also, that come down to, well, I mean, shit, yeah, yes and no. Because, I mean, you can still have somebody that's, like, really fucking great in a mediocre movie and they still body the shit out of their performance.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's a lot of people that could be pretty decent that get pegged as terrible, but when they have the right direction behind them, they end up coming off. I'm trying to think. There's somebody that comes up fairly often recently that they constantly get shitted on, but I've totally noticed that when they have the right director, they seem to capture good performances out of them. But then outside of that, it's just all shit. And I just can't think of who it is right now.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
This nigga.
I'm talking shit.
Yeah, that definitely is not the case. Like I said,
if that nigga can't do no wrong in front of a camera, bro.
Yeah, pretty much. If there's
unless
any
he
niggas,
do what R. Kelly did.
Yeah,
and it'll still be Oscar worthy.
A good one. Like, yeah, did you see that? How he faked that pee? You like really felt the emotion in that pee.
You felt it, right? You can see the relief in his face.
Nah, like, yeah. As far as Hollywood pretty boys go, you'll never hear me ever slander. Who is it? Him, Brad Pitt.
Facts.
Somebody else. I was trying to think of that. Overcome their Hollywood. Oh, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
No matter whatever their original shit was, even though Leo was pretty straightforward once he got to be an adult, so he never really had that romantic comedy phase or nothing. But
man,
them niggas, when they're given the right material, like I'd never shit on them as far as acting, because I was on Brad Pitt's nuts, pause, hard when I saw that nigga in True Romance back in the day. So you talking about that was like fucking 94, 93. And the fact that how well, even though for the small part that he had to play in that stoner, staying at that motherfucker's house, it was just like, I never thought he could do some shit like that, where I just assumed he was just, this pretty guy that's in these romantic kind of movies and shit. And it's like, nah, this nigga was playing a straight fucking stoner. And then kind of to go from that, them doing 12 Monkeys, and then when he started diversifying and you seeing him and showing the range that he actually had, it's like, nah, I'd never shit on none of them. Because them dudes put in work when they're given.
Yeah. No, they definitely do. I'm trying to think if it's. I'm trying to think of somebody else. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. I'm with you.
But yeah, I'm going through these Anthony Mackie movies, and yeah, I ain't seen shit.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I don't think he's a great actor. Is like personality wise, he seemed like a fairly like okay, like, you know what I'm saying, potentially funny nigga, but he also seems like he could definitely be that like, I really wish this nigga to shut the fuck up nigga as well. But at the same time, we talking movies, and I can't ever remember being like, hey man, he bodied that shit. And nothing. Like, I'm thinking.
Well,
of course he got shit that he'd have done I haven't seen, but I just like, how did this nigga keep getting cast? He literally didn't talk in 8 Mile, nigga.
And he was pretty much the same shit, stone faced in Outside the Wire. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I said, he must have a good rapport personality wise. Like, I haven't really heard anybody speak.
But that nigga got a good agent. That's about it.
Well, that, like I said, but you know, you can get shitted on in this game if motherfuckers don't like you. So I mean, apparently he's pretty fun to be on set with.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, you know.
Yeah, my nigga was hitting. They had a stunt man in there hitting corkscrew flips and shit while he was training with that fucking CGI shield on the show and shit. Spraying that nigga with water so it looked like he was sweating and working hard. Like, all right, man, I guess. It really is like, I don't understand why niggas try so hard to sell that nigga.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know how this turned into a whole ass fuck Anthony Mackie.
It's not that. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. That's it.
I feel it. Anyway.
Fuck. All right, man. Jesus Christ. All right, so with all of about perhaps, well, you know, it wasn't even enough time for the goddamn music to finish. So all of about a 2-minute intermission mushed into the show. We have gotten to 50 minutes without even starting to get into our best and worst of the year.
Yeah, we're still not ready for that yet.
What's next?
Have you forgotten that once we were brought here, we were robbed of our name, robbed of our language. We lost our religion, our culture, our God, and many of us, by the way we act, we even lost our minds. Anyway, I just can't say, have you forgotten, without going on that Jesse Jackson rant. Thanks to Public Enemy. Chuck, my nigga. Anyway, The Matrix Snoozalation.
Oh my God. I forgot The Matrix came out.
Nigga, how the fuck did you forget that? I've been waiting for a week to shit on this movie. And the whole time I thought when you talked to me, you were going to eventually bring it up, be like, yeah, so did you watch The Matrix? And I'm like, nah, nigga, I'm not talking about it. So we get on the pod. So obviously I've given my hand away that what's the obvious is that, yeah, it's trash, but okay. So let's go ahead and make it happen. Matrix 4. The Matrix Resurrections, for which I'm sure a bunch of you have seen.
AKA The Matrix.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't give a fuck what's between your legs. Lana Wachowski.
Who's this man?
Nigga, just take the pod off now.
What did I think about the movie?
Hated it.
Okay. That shit sucked dick with teeth and no spit. Okay.
Okay.
And sandpaper gloves.
Wow. Alrighty. How you really feel? So, The Matrix 4, almost certain reboot of sorts, sequel.
It was a reboot, cool.
Yeah, whatever.
It was a reboot. It was a combination meta commentary, reboot, and sequel all at once, and none of which were good. They overdid the meta entirely, dramatically, over dramatically even. They fucking had to figure out a way to fucking come up with why they were rebooting this goddamn shit or kicking it back the fuck off or how we got back into the Matrix in a sense. And they said, well, fuck it. We just gonna take this nigga and go from hacker to updated fucking job title, video game designer. That's not fucking good. He came up with 3 called The Matrix and blah, blah, blah. And somehow, some way, like this is whole shit. We don't know how the fuck long they've been running this new Matrix, whatever the fuck. But we do know that fucking 60 years have gone by. Oh, fucking K. We have no Hugo Weaving, but we still have Agent Smith. And granted, the nigga who's playing the new Agent Smith, he might be fucking fine. Might be a great actor. But he's not fucking Hugo Weaving. So to get somebody who looks absolutely nothing like, and then to just say that this is the same character with a different face and voice and body language and inflections, he literally captures none of what we know, but you force people into comparing him by making him the same fucking character that we got to learn over 3 movies. And it doesn't fucking make sense because within the same shit, nigga, we also had a new Morpheus who wasn't bad, but he wasn't fucking good, and he wasn't the same, and he also was supposed to be partial Agent Smith, which literally after his introduction, there's no part of him that has the Agent Smith factor in it anymore. And he just becomes digital Morpheus, but with fucking John Witherspoon, Wayans Brothers style fucking suits for the rest of the movie, which never fucking happened in the original shit. Doesn't fucking make that much goddamn sense. Why the fuck machines would choose to side with humans and float the fuck around like pets in the new Zion being Io? Who the fuck knows? Doesn't make no goddamn sense for real. But oh fucking K, sure. Why these niggas watch a bunch of fucking shit that came from the old fucking movies and shit through the course of this shit, but it's not the actual characters and shit that we know, but at the same time also play an unlimited amount of clips from the first couple fucking movies, actually direct from the first fucking couple movies? Who the fuck knows? Name dropping Warner Brothers actually say they was gonna make this shit with or without us, so we had to just go ahead and make it the fuck happen. Everything all comes down to fucking getting Trinity to fucking wake up again, even though Neo's supposed to be the one, but I guess technically now he's the 2 because she's the 1 and she can do more shit than he can. There's nothing good here.
Is you finished or is you done?
I am fucking through.
All right. So it's not as if I have so much more to add. I'm gonna back up a bit. This is gonna be more like a I told you so kind of thing, even though I didn't really tell anybody shit. I'm only gonna surmise this because you went into enough detail about this bullshit that I don't need to re-go over anything that you already went over for the most part. For an original trilogy that I only liked one movie, was okay with the second, and hated the third, obviously I didn't want to see a fourth one being made. So from the very beginning, and this is not to throw you under the bus, but this is still just in comparison. When the trailer came out for this shit, and it was, did you see the Matrix trailer? It's like, no, nigga, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to see this happen. And it came out way worse than I even imagined it would in the first place, which just goes back to proving leave well enough alone. So that's fine. I knew it wasn't going to be shit. I hoped for the best, but no, it turned out to not be shit. That's fine. I had another issue specifically with this. I was trying to think of what it was. I fucking forgot. But yeah, just other than the fact that I didn't want to see this happen, and it happened anyway, that's bad enough. On top of the fact that, I know what my point was. Okay, so from the very beginning, even from the original movies, the reason why I've never held the Wachowskis in high regard to the Matrix trilogy. First of all, when you really look at their filmography, it's not like they have a bunch of fucking classic movies under their belt.
They don't.
They are the most overhyped motherfuckers I've ever seen as far as directors, where it's just like motherfuckers, Warner Brothers keeps throwing them money just because they had one franchise that made a shit ton of it, and everything else was basically meh as fuck or trash.
Agreed.
So my major issue with the Wachowskis, and like I said, with the Matrix initially, they are the exact same reason that I don't watch a lot of anime. Anime, in so many ways, looks pretty on film, on paper, so to speak. But at the end of the day, the fucking storylines are so goddamn convoluted and on some bullshit, I can't stick it out with that shit. So when motherfuckers want to fake and try to act like, oh yeah, it's all super deep and blah, 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 and you just got to understand it. Nah, nigga.
It's just not good.
There's a lot of layers and motherfuckers just making shit up to make it sound like it's something really deep. And a lot of times it's not. You could like in visually what you're seeing on screen. So when I watch anime, especially like old school shit, yeah, I like what I'm seeing on screen. But at the end of the day, these storylines are dumb as fuck. There's no real emotion to them. You don't have any real stakes in some cases. That's my issue. The Matrix trilogy, or the Matrix quadrilogy, I guess at this point, is the exact same thing. The first one, it had a premise enough where when they laid the layers on it and shit, like, yo, this is good. Them trying to add on to that shit just made it that much worse. Trying to create a whole narrative and a whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Just trying to create a whole mythology with everything and connecting it. And they just keep digging themselves into a further hole of shit that just is either ripe with not making any sense or having tons of plot holes. And that's fine. But yeah, I can't get into this shit from that same perspective. I can sit there and watch some shit on screen and I'm like, yeah, that kind of looks cool. But nah, it really ain't that cool. So on top of it, so if I'm going to nitpick one of a couple of things, number one, the fucking Merovingian showing up. It was the most unnecessary piece of, hey, remember me? I've probably ever seen in a movie in quite some time, especially on this level. That was complete trash. They should not have done that. It's unnecessary. And then I'm trying to think of what I'm really getting at here. That was bad enough, but then just, I don't know. Fuck it. If you have anything else to interject, I guess it'll come back to me, whatever the point was. But nah, I wasn't on this shit. Like I said, that's what it was. The action itself. Getting pegged down to the new Jedi Neo and his force push.
Bruh.
This nigga.
Yo, so okay. So this movie was 2.5 hours. They reawakened Neo maybe, let's say, 40-ish minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just throwing out guesstimates here. Neo gets into a training session with Morpheus. He shoves that nigga with the whoop, 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 whoop shit, right? You know what I'm saying? And then for the literal next near 2 hours, every fucking scenario, he just whoops shit the fuck away from him. It doesn't matter what the threat is. Somebody want to fight? Fudge, just air shove. When they on the motorcycle, riding through the city, air shove.
Have more respect for that nigga. Force push. Nigga, I played The Force Unleashed 1 and 2. Nigga, that's a force push. Have some respect.
Some
for
bullshit.
Star Wars.
No, have some respect for Star Wars, and let's not call it that.
Let's see. I'm gonna answer your question because I did download that bullshit to put it with the. Of course, this motherfucker won't play it. You goddamn bitch.
This what I'm
plays
saying.
it on my PlayStation, so that's funny.
This is what I'm saying.
But yeah,
every threat that comes his way, he just force pushes for the whole rest of the movie. Neo does not fight in the Matrix. Neo, listen to that. Neo, the one,
not the singer,
right? Not. She makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, even though he bald. Which, okay.
Not Time Loop.
Not definitely. Definitely not. What was it? Galaxia?
Yeah.
Definitely not the lead singer of Galaxia.
Yeah, we're all Galaxia. I just watched that episode like
right
yesterday or day before, so it's fresh back on my mind.
That's why I said the lead singer of.
Like, yeah, we're all Galaxia.
Shout out to Sherman Showcase. So this motherfucking Neo does not fight in the whole fucking movie, though. He force pushes helicopters, bullets, niggas, missiles, vehicles, literally everything that come at him for the rest of the movie. He put his hands out in front of him, or one hand out in front of him, and everything just stops. Until the point when he probably should have done it for real, when they were literally swarmed by 150 motherfuckers in a coffee shop between him and Trinity, and they trying to touch hands because, you know, you can't complete a meaningful, magical connection with somebody without touching fingertips. Probably the one point he should have shoved everybody the fuck out the way, but he didn't. Because movie. Fuck this shit.
Yeah. And Johnny Stevens, Resurrection being better than the Star Wars sequel trilogy, I don't know quite. I don't know about that exactly. I'm not disagreeing. But I'm not quite agreeing either. Especially comparing one movie versus three. And I think to a certain degree,
I'm thinking
The Rise of Skywalker was just as bad as Resurrection.
Oh, for sure. That shit was an ass sandwich.
If you take only mostly the Rey and Kylo stuff in The Last Jedi, I'll let some of that ride because everything else in that movie was
no, I'm about to say no. The Trash Jedi was definitely that. I felt like Force Awakens was actually alright.
Yeah, Force Awakens was fine.
But then they definitely they fucked up. Yeah. they fucked up.
They definitely fucked up by not having.
But I feel like the Force Awakens is the saving grace that prevents that statement from being true.
Kinda.
That's really the only thing that's really the saving grace.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if we was just talking the Trash Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker, Yeah,
but
maybe.
that's why I'm saying I'm not.
I wouldn't even say that it's better. I would say they were on par.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, they're like I said. And me as a hardcore Star Wars fan, as some would assume. Like I said, it's
Nigga, if you were not a hardcore Star Wars fan, that would be fucking strange.
Not for the reason that you assume, because I've had to explain this to somebody, and I know what you're thinking of, because you're thinking of the tattoos, right?
And also these little motherfuckers standing up behind us.
Nah, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different. Here's why. So what I realized, and complete segue of my thing in Star Wars, there's a reason why I don't have Star Wars figures of any of the characters except the black ones or like stormtroopers or somebody with a mask on. Well, yeah. But at the same time, it's because I really don't love Star Wars characters. Like, even as a kid, I don't really think I was really too much leaning toward Luke Skywalker going like, yeah, Luke is super awesome as a hero. Like, nah, I didn't really look at it that way. So my obsession with that from just a science fiction perspective and coming up with that where like that was a real relevant thing for me as a kid in the first, the original trilogy. It's more about that and things that represent that from, the lore and, like I said, the science of it all. That's why I'm more into lightsabers, because of the fact that it's like, that's one of the coolest ass science fiction-y weapons I could think of having.
For sure.
So it's that, but yeah, that's why I don't really have favorite characters, or every character that I like in Star Wars has some kind of mask on where they theoretically could be anybody, or like by design I like them. But yeah, everybody that shows their face, I don't like none of them motherfuckers.
I argue you this though. I'm not taking away from the fact that lightsabers are dope, but I feel like lightsabers are a good portion of what makes lightsabers dope is actually Force users wielding them and not just the lightsabers themselves. Because in instances when we've seen non-Force users use them hoes, they suck.
Well, this is true, but I think it's just still someone with a little bit more skills, because if the nigga next door had a lightsaber, it was out in the front yard swinging that bitch around, even if he cut his hand off, I'd be like, yo, that's I need to get one of those. So, nah. I'm
just saying from the perspective of like, you know what I'm saying, in terms of actual combat usage and shit. Because if a nigga was, if a regular nigga was in the next yard running towards you with a lightsaber, gun, or to be cool, laser gun. You know what I'm saying? By comparison, a Force user nigga, when you shoot that at him, he's going to block that shit. He's going to block it because them niggas have that Force timing and skill.
Yeah, but see, nah, that still diminishes the idea of the weapon itself, because you could just say that about a regular sword. Just because you can't block gunfire with a regular sword doesn't mean that the sword itself is not cool. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So I'm not really into the whole like.
No, but I'm saying like even saying that you could, it's the Obi-Wan, like that nigga he has that. It's not because like it's not necessarily that's not even a skill thing when you really think about it. It's like nigga, that's like his Force sensitivity type shit assisting the hand, because realistically, even if a nigga, like, it doesn't matter what you holding for real. If you holding a slim fucking anything and a nigga shoot at you, you're more than likely going to get shot. You're not going to be able to deflect it,
right,
with whatever it is. So that's the Force assisting the hand in that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what actually make that whole dope is the fact that a nigga is the lightsaber itself being dope plus the Force skill combined make it to where niggas can do cool shit with a cool weapon.
Again, I understand where you're coming from, but again, if we take it away from it being Star Wars related, and I like swords don't come with niggas being able to do what Jedi can do, and that doesn't stop that sword from me being on like, yo, I want that sword.
I feel you. The fact that them bitches can literally cut through anything, like the wild part about it is though, like you can literally go like cut a chunk off a nigga house.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. It's that aspect of it that's the thing for me, because again, I'm a nigga that came up during a period where, you know, when Conan the Barbarian was in theaters. And seeing this nigga Schwarzenegger with that,
I'm gonna say the Arnold Schwarzenegger version, not the Jason Momoa or whoever the fuck.
I've never even seen the Momoa version. So yeah, I've kind of been curious because I mean, I guess the Momoa version is more like the original character
source material shit. Yeah,
but nonetheless, so Schwarzenegger's version, that was a dope ass sword design that he had in that, and it was almost still like, yo, I want one of those. I still kind of want a replica of one of those motherfuckers. I
feel you,
but yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But like I said, I'm totally separating the two because again, just by itself, I'm not going to say it wouldn't be cool if I had a working one. Just like you said, you can cut off part of a nigga's house. You know, if I was a seriously toxic, crazy motherfucker and, you know, broad act up and I could fucking cut her car into 3 pieces. That's what I'm saying. Like that. But anyway, nonetheless, I digress. But
now if you was Neo,
right, I could just flip that bitch over with it.
You could just force push that hoe.
Right.
That is fucking hilarious, man. Jesus Christ. I forgot that shit came out. Don't Look Up. Did you see it?
No need to discuss that yet. Well, you know, I guess we can.
Well, say why not?
Because it's related to the big thing that you wanted to talk about.
So is The Matrix. Because it's on my worst.
Well, I guess. Well,
that was what I was thinking.
Well, you know what? No. You're right. Because I came into this not remembering or paying attention to you talking about the worst shit. Anyway.
For sure.
Because usually everybody else does their best and worst shit on 2 different shows. But anyway, got it. So obviously by that implication I got, you obviously know I've seen it then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What'd you think? Did you like it? Because I enjoyed it.
Here we go.
Oh, shit.
No, I definitely...
You must say, oh, shit.
No, I definitely...
Here we go again.
I'm trying to think of if I had any real issues with it, but no. It... even to the point of it ending in a satisfactory way for me. Yeah, I don't really think it's one of those things that I'm not going to say I loved it, but I did like it a lot. I don't really have anything bad to say about it.
Right. I feel like for what it was and what it was supposed to be, I feel like it was well executed.
Yeah. So
as a whole, you got your super serious motherfuckers.
Oh, you know what? Hold up. Again, I keep figuring out, I keep got to remember that my role on the show needs to be to keep shit in line, to start giving synopsis of shit, because we always ignore that every fucking time. Every fucking time.
You're right.
So, Don't Look Up.
New Netflix movie by Adam McKay.
Directed, written by Adam McKay.
Starring everybody.
Right.
Fire cast.
Adam McKay, that's mostly known for doing so many Will Ferrell movies that I thought were fucking hilarious.
Yes.
Including Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, and the like. But yeah, once he got into doing things, I think when he started off with The Big Short was the first like more serious movie he did, then he's kind of been more on that. So he did it with the basis of really hating the fact that politicians and people in general were ignoring climate change. And so somebody brought up the idea of saying like, yeah, you know, it would be like, you know, if it's not like a meteor is hitting the world. And then he basically made a movie that really addresses how we assume that motherfuckers would act nowadays if a meteor or some type of comet was actually going to crash into the earth and be an actual planet killer, that most of you motherfuckers wouldn't care nor pay attention because of how shit's presented. And then thus the government would sweep it under the rug in such a way, and also people that already are billionaires and trillionaires would try to find a way to profit off of the shit in some way, shape, or form, thus dooming us all. So yes, starring everybody: Leonardo DiCaprio, Meryl Streep, Jonah Hill, Jennifer Lawrence, who I'm okay with seeing Jennifer Lawrence as long as she's not in a fucking X-Men movie. Because goddamn it, I hate her for those. I really do. Like, no, for real. Like, every time I see Jennifer Lawrence, there's something about her I don't like. and I can't figure out what it is. And then I'm like, nah, I do know what it is. I just hate her association with the X-Men movies. For some reason, I feel like if she never did those, I wouldn't feel either way about her. But I have a dislike for her strictly from her being Mystique. Jesus Christ. But anyway, so on and so forth. Bunch of big names in this shit. It's very much a dark comedy in so many ways, but at the same time, it's damn near like a documentary of sorts. Just the whole idea that people would not pay attention or take it serious in such a way. One of the few times obviously where I can take Tyler Perry, when it's obviously Tyler Perry in a movie where he's not directing, writing the shit. He gets a pass. Kate Blanchett, who so many of you,
she was almost unrecognizable. I genuinely didn't recognize her for a minute.
I think at first I didn't, but since I had already knew she was in the cast, I wasn't like looking for her. But when I saw her, I was like, oh yeah, that's Kate Blanchett.
You know, I had to go back. I went and checked while we were watching it, like looked at the cast, like, oh shit, that is her. Okay, what the fuck? It threw me off. She didn't look like herself. I feel like they did. I feel like they like put a prosthetic on her nose or something. It didn't look like the usual.
No, because she looks exactly like she does in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and to a certain degree, if you put black hair on her, she would look just like she did in Ragnarok. It's just you have to see it in that context.
Yeah,
I can see it. But no, she looked like herself. But it took me a second at first. With the blonde hair, I did not catch it right away. But yeah, and I hear you, Asia. But fuck Tyler Perry. But yeah, Tyler Perry only gets a pass when he's not in a movie that he wrote or direct. Or Alex Cross. Alex Cross is some trash. So nah, that's the one exception to the rule as well. But with this movie, yeah, I actually dug it. Like I said, it was very much a movie for me and how I picture how most people in today's society, especially on social media, handle these things where everything's just kind of ignored. Everything is just, it boils down to very basic surface level things about what's popular or whatnot, and how we're so entranced with celebrity culture. Because with Ariana Grande and Scott Muscati, I'm not calling that nigga by his stage name.
I don't have no respect for it.
Me neither. That's what I'm saying. So fuck it. If I'm being disrespectful, I'm calling that nigga by his government. The guy that's supposedly from here. So
that's funny.
With them being involved in a relationship and how much Hollywood and the news focuses on celebrity culture, like I said, it was very much a mirror of what's going on right now. So like I said, I dug it. The performances were on point. Leo was doing Leo per usual. Like, again, when we talk about a motherfucker with range, it's like he could be, what's his name? Fucking Candy in 1 minute. Django.
Oh, Candy, yeah.
Right. So it's like he could be that 1 minute, but then he could also play some schlub that seems like he'll get his ass whooped in a minute, versus he could be in Wolf of Wall Street playing fucking, God damn it, why can't I think of dude's name since he was playing him in the movie? But whatever. Basically playing an asshole that's doing drugs all the time. Like, whatever he slips himself into, nigga, he becomes that. He's one of them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like him and Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Well, Gary Oldman is not given as much props as he probably should.
Yeah, no, him, Gary Oldman, and best actor on the planet,
Daniel Day-Lewis.
There you go. Yeah, them three.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. So, yeah, like I said, I thought it was funny as shit. Jonah Hill was pretty goddamn funny. I understood in the way that Adam McKay normally does stuff. He lets them improv a lot. And supposedly Jonah Hill had motherfuckers cracking up, doing their shit. And, yeah, like I said, I dug it. It went the way I would. So definitely my suggestion, yeah, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely take the time out and watch it, because you're already using your grandmama's, Netflix login. So
yeah,
go ahead and watch that shit.
I felt like this was great with the very straight and very serious take that Leonardo and Jennifer's characters had to play. I felt like the way everybody else handled this shit was all like big over exaggerations, and I liked that shit because I understood what that was. So I definitely don't have any real negatives or complaints about this joint. I thought it was pretty fucking good. And then for them to actually not come to, like, you know what I'm saying, not get the job done, and for us to get the ending that we got out of it, okay. Like, okay. Because right. you expect that shit gonna go one way, and then when it don't, when you get those, when they subvert those expectations, well, it's like, all right, well, shit, ain't that something? So I definitely didn't see the actual ending coming, and then when we, got there, it was like, okay, right. Fucking K, like, for sure, one way or the other, niggas is fucked. Like, this is the first time that I can say that we got the disaster joint where it's like all the rich motherfuckers in the world, superpower motherfuckers and shit, or have a plan to escape in case everything goes wrong and shit, right. And then they do so, and it's like, all right, cool, and then they end up fucked too. Like, that never happens. Never seen that before. So I was like,
in this case, I knew it was going to happen, especially based on how the main part of it ended. I guess without trying to really spoil it, but I mean, right. We've implied.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
but if you have not seen Don't Look Up, shit ain't bad. Go check that whole out one time.
Yeah, that's on my mama.
Yeah, and them. Is it time?
Bitch. Sure, why not?
Or what are we missing? I'm trying to think.
No, there's nothing I can think about. Like I said, what I put in, I think I noted, no, there was nothing that was really on there because I put Don't Look Up there. But I mean, once you had started talking about the best of shit, like, no, there's nothing because we addressed Matrix, Hawkeye, and that. So
for sure. Well, real quick, I started Money Heist maybe 3 weeks ago or so. Completed the whole shit, all 5 seasons. Shit was fucking good, bro. So it was just like low key, like let's just do that hoe, and it was a straight run through. So if you have not seen that shit, that is also on the Netflix. It is Spanish, and it is dope. So if you into reading the subtitles, you can do that, or you can just play the English dub. I personally played the English dub, but I also still had the subtitles running just to be safe, because sometimes what they have in the subtitles is a little bit different than what the actual English dub actors say. So whatever. Translation shit.
Well, I didn't think about that. I didn't even know it was like that, but I guess that makes sense. But I also look at that in the same way as like Lupin or Lupin.
For sure. With, everybody talk about that a lot. I haven't.
It's okay.
For sure.
I'm not about to be like,
you know what? I also feel like that's also how I feel about Lucifer.
Oh, well, I had no interest in watching that, but I was thinking I was going to watch Lupin just because I wanted to see another version that obviously wasn't based on the anime version of Lupin the Third, since I know it was still about somebody that was a master thief.
Those shits are connected?
Yeah, Lupin is a character based on...
Holy fuck, because I thought it was, but then I was like, nah, that's a black dude.
No,
this ain't animated. Nah, this can't be the same thing, so I never bothered to look at that shit.
No, yeah, Lupin as a character is master thief, motherfucker. So, like, yeah, this is just another version kind of that.
Wow, look at that. Okay, I used to fuck with Lupin the Third.
Right, but I did not. But, I mean, that was the whole thing. It's like, I was like, all right, let me try to see what Omar Sy is doing. And it took me a minute to realize that it was originally done in French and it was dubbed.
Got you.
Because I'm like, ain't Omar Sy French? And then sure enough, I'm like, yeah, their lips are not matching because, yeah, it was originally done in French.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right, well, yeah, that's cool then. So, with that being said, my G's, my lady G's, let's go ahead and get into the best and the worst of the motherfucking year. We got a half hour to burn on that. Let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna pull up this list. Let me get this whole up here real quick one time, player. Now, remember, as always, like I tell y'all, man, listen, if you want to tap in with us live, do so at twitch.tv/BKA Watts. You can tap in live. You can drop your comments in and tell us what y'all think. This is the moment that we all been waiting for. We're going to go into some of our best and worst shits of the year that we have, fortunately or unfortunately, been subjected to for the sake of a goddamn podcast and also for our movie fandom. With that being said, Vig, should we start at best or worst?
No, it's always best because, you know, worst is usually going to be... Well, I don't have a ton of shit for worst.
Oh, really?
Well, not for shows because I don't know unless you're not doing
Oh, no,
shows.
I was thinking movies specifically.
Well,
we can start there.
Well, no, you definitely always leave worst for last because, you know, niggas love negativity.
Not going to argue with you.
And I'm not saying the
Okay.
viewing audience. I'm saying just generally speaking, you know.
For sure. All right. So then you want to go one for one, running off our top 5 of the year?
Maybe. I gotta have 2 different lists of top 5.
I felt like I did too.
let me specify. Top 5 favorite movies of the year. Top 5 arguably best movies of the year. So there's shit that's on my best that I would never probably watch again.
Okay.
And one of them we've kind of touched on, and I'll definitely touch on that. So you know what? I'll probably just do like, yeah, if we do ones, we'll do like the 1 and 1. Like, yeah, best favorite, or I'm not even doing them in order, but yeah, this is my first of best favorite, my first of, you know, best, you know, we'll do it like that.
Okay. Well, I don't have the like actual like potential best of the year set, but I'm like that's cool. Like we can do, you know what I'm saying, run with yours. I'm just running my 5 personal favorites of the year.
Right, and I got you. And if we were doing that, that's why it was funny to me when we say like best of the year. It's just like, then should it be labeled as favorites? Because favorites and best ain't necessarily the same thing.
Well, yeah, because you know at the end of the day, ultimately, no matter how we play it, best is like way subjective.
Yeah, and it is. But there's certain shit that if I did a list, it would be 5 movies that some motherfuckers be like, oh yeah, I like those. But it's like, how did you ignore this, and this? It's like, nigga, because it ain't about being hoity-toity right now. I'm talking about what my favorite was.
For sure.
So that's why I have like kind of hoity-toity and then favorite.
Okay. I'm with you. We can fuck around. I got you. All right, so listen, I'll tell you like this. One that I feel like I'll just go straight in on it like this with it. I feel like Quiet Place 2 is a personal favorite and belongs among the top best movies of the year that came out. This shit was dope. They expanded more on that world, more on that lore. We got more information. We got a few more dope characters brought into the fold. We picked up real close to where we left off. There was a couple questions in the beginning, but beyond that, first like 5 minutes, I felt like we got a really, really dope sequel that was very close to on par with the original, which very, very rarely happens these days.
So you've just opened up a can of worms in the sense that we really shouldn't be doing this as I don't want to say like back and forth, but just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of getting them off. And the reason why I say that is because my answer or my reply to what you just said is agreed. So obviously there's no need for me to bring it up.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's on mine.
Okay. Well, I'm saying, all right, that's cool.
So yeah, we just go back and forth, but it's like whatever we cover is what we cover. But yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Right. So that's one.
All right. So then that being said, for me, I will say, best is as in one of the best movies, but I will probably never watch it again, or maybe once, one day. Judas and the Black Messiah.
Also on my list, so I don't have to go back and forth with you on it either.
Right. Wonderful acting in the movie. I'm not even bringing up any association with Cleveland or whatever, but I mean,
hey, but you know what I'm saying, shout out to the land.
So as far as historical dramas go, and I usually don't like fucking with shit that's during the civil rights movement as it is, but yes, great movie in that sense. Watched it once. Great performances. Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya. Everybody, but nah, I'll probably never watch that shit again because I just don't like watching depressing shit or things that'll rile me up. So
definitely did watch it a few times. I watched it when we had the theater, and then watched it at home because HBO Max. Fuck it, why not? And bought it so I could have that right here on Blu-ray, and also. It came with a digital movie code, so you can download it as well. Produced by the fine folks at Warner Brothers.
But did they put your scene in the deleted scenes?
I actually didn't. Right. I didn't look. Actually,
I was just being a dick. My bad. I'm sorry.
But to get an opportunity to catch a glimpse of that, check out my Instagram at BKA Watts, and you'll see a clip of us shooting dice all up in the motherfucking camera and shit with really cool people in that joint. Like Tay Stubbs is in the shot with me, and Ashton Sanders, who you all know from Moonlight or as the RZA with my brothers in the Wu-Tang show and things of the sort. You know what I'm saying? Who I smoked in that game of goddamn CeeLo one time. You know what I'm saying? And got that nigga for a couple of dollars. So he had to run me my money, Jack.
Niggas. So yeah. So I guess if I was gonna say that, then my other. One, like I said, we already touched on it. Don't Look Up was one of my.
For sure. Cool. Because I'm about to say, yeah, you're right. So since we, also up there for me. So yes, Don't Look Up, also up there. And we already talked about that. So, y'all know how we feel about it. I guess one that I would add on to the list, I would say King Richard. I feel like that was a really solid movie for me for the year. Mostly, I'm going to say, well, first of all, it's one of those ones that belongs up there with best for sure, because I was fully interested and captivated in a story about a weird ass quirky nigga with little ass fucking baby shorts on and shit, training two little black girls from Compton to fucking play tennis, which I do not give a fuck about. Or at least I thought I didn't give a fuck about it until I was watching a movie about it and was completely interested in that shit. Everybody turned in solid ass performances, literally not a single bad one. Especially when you got to see all the footage and clips and shit that they add into the end of it, which is really dope. So I say it belongs on the best, and it definitely belongs on my favorite of movies that I saw this year, because there was plenty of ass this year that I had to watch.
Well, yeah, and not just in your DMs. But
true.
Since I still didn't watch it yet, I don't know what to say about that. So that being said, next, as far as what I really loved, I'm going to say, yeah, because you already hit Quiet Place and Don't Look Up. So I'm going to go to, fuck it. Let's just say Shang-Chi. Oh, I'm sorry.
Also on my
So Shang-Chi as far as favorites for the year, because, a good portion of my shit, well, would have been Marvel movies, but there's only really 2 Marvel movies this year that I really liked that.
I mean, there were only 3 total.
4.
4?
Mm-hmm. You forgot about the worst one, I bet you.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
no, I didn't, because it's on my. No, you're right. I didn't. But it's crazy because it's literally on my list.
Right,
it's on my list. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Shang-Chi was definitely so surprising in how well it actually was done, especially because I expected nothing from it. So it ranks up there very high. Very dope ass Marvel action martial arts movie. It's definitely worth it. Like I said, even for me seeing the bus scene on the trailers and not being overly impressed, and then actually seeing the bus scene for real in the movie being one of the first big, scenes early in the movie was fucking dope, and I didn't really expect that. So yeah, Shang-Chi was definitely one of those ones that's up there for me. But hoity-toity, No Sudden Move, which I know you didn't see, and you probably should eventually see. That was the
okay, because I didn't.
Right, that was the Steven Soderbergh movie with Don Cheadle and Benicio del Toro and Kieran Culkin.
Did not see it.
Right, that took place in the 50s or 60s, but basically had to do with them. Don Cheadle, Benicio, Kieran. They're basically like scumbag kind of ex-con kind of dudes, and they get sent on the job to go to David Harbour's house basically it's one of those like somebody's being blackmailed for something and they're supposed to go sit and wait for something to be brought for the big boss that they're working for, but shit goes wrong. Mm-hmm. So, in typical Steven Soderbergh, you know, I guess people are sometimes iffy on him or whatever. I like a lot of Soderbergh shit. The Ocean's movies, I like. Even before that, even I only really watched it once. The shit with fucking J-Lo and George Clooney and
I'm about to say Enough.
No. No.
Made in Manhattan?
No, it was before it started.
Jiggly?
Jiggly. I mean, I saw Jiggly.
I did not see Jiggly.
I saw Jiggly. I mean, but definitely, if I ever wanted to eat her ass, that was one of the movies where it was.
God,
it was more than eatable.
Premium.
But,
no, what the fuck? I just remember Skills wrap up that year. That nigga said, "Show of hands, how many of y'all seen Jiggly?" And I never forgot. I didn't.
Well, see, Jiggly is one of those movies where it's not really as bad as motherfuckers make it out to be. It was just exacerbated due to the fact that they were in a relationship at that time.
Right.
So when you get tired of seeing, you know, the it power couple for that year in entertainment, and they're doing a big movie together that ends up not being good, they completely roasted that shit way worse than needed to be. It was just a not very good romantic comedy is basically what it was. Like romantic comedy / gangster flick in some ways. So it just wasn't great, but it wasn't like the worst shit ever.
Understood.
But it was more perception than anything else. But I mean, yeah, it was what it was. Because I don't remember.
Fucking Jiggly.
Yeah, I don't remember watching it going like, oh my God, this was so horrible whenever it came out on video. But it was like, no, it ain't good. I've never watched it again. But like I said, it just wasn't good. That's all.
For sure. I feel like she about to go underground and like stop doing stuff at some point because she got too famous in this lifetime. And, you know what I'm saying? We got to wait another like 20 something years or so. And then all of a sudden she going to come back out and then say that she's her own daughter, like Buddy on Eternals, because she doesn't age, bro. I saw about 10 minutes of Enough like 4 days ago on Netflix, and the bitch is 59 now and literally looks exactly the same as she did 20 years ago when that shit came out. She don't age, bro. She's a vampire, a mutant, or an alien. It's one of the three. I'm convinced.
Well, she gonna let me eat that ass though?
Hopefully so. For the gang. All right. Let's.
If I only ate ass.
So another one out there. You know what? I mean, we can get it out of the fucking way. I mean, I don't know if it's on your list, but it's on mine for sure. Spider-Man. No fucking way home.
Yeah, I mean, of course it's on my list as far as favorite. I mean, I was just saving that near last because, you know, that was...
Yeah, favorite for sure. I don't know if niggas gonna, you know, call it best because it's a comic book movie or whatever.
Yeah, it ain't the best, but it's definitely my favorite of the year. So I mean,
definitely among the favorite of the year. Like, high, because it literally gave niggas everything that we expected and then some shit that niggas didn't even know that we wanted, and also gave us a lot of shit to fucking fan theorize on and potentially look forward to, so on and so forth. So the shit is fucking great. And if you haven't seen it yet, you're weird. You're not a fucking fan for real. But because you've had time. All right. This shit has, and y'all know I'm on the box office nerd shit. This shit has crossed 1 billion. It took 11 days. It is fucking tied for the number 3 slot for crossing 1 billion with fucking Force Awakens, I believe. And obviously, very obviously to me, if it were not for the fact that there was a fucking pandemic, if it were not for the fact that this shit didn't get a fucking release in China, and if it were not for the fact that due to said pandemic, there was a bunch of fucking theaters and shit that still ain't been open, a bunch of joints that were closed, and the spots where this shit wasn't available, that shit clearly would have been the second fastest movie to 1 billion. It wouldn't have done what fucking Endgame did, but it is extremely apparent that this shit would have done fucking much, much bigger business, and it's already crazy, because the bitch done crossed 1 fucking billion.
It's the power of Spider-Man.
Pretty much. It's like the number 14 fucking domestic movie of all time. Some old silly shit.
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, it's just basic facts that outside of everything else that I think people continue to take for granted, regardless of what you think. Not you, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think, people keep failing to realize that Spider-Man is arguably the most popular superhero in the world. The world, Craig.
The whole world, Craig. The planet.
So,
Earth.
Not only do you have that, and then again, we're 2 weeks out. You don't fucking know Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire being in the movie to bring all three Spider-Man together.
Shot that shit through the roof.
Yeah. So that doesn't really surprise me. And yeah, and if there was no pandemic,
this shit would have been this year. This shit would be the #2 movie on the fucking planet. Like already, it's aggressive. It's aggressive. That right now, I think right now it's the number 14 highest grossing movie of all time. It's Sony's highest grossing film ever produced. It's the highest grossing, therefore, as well as you can tell, Spider-Man movie of all time. That is fucking crazy. The fact that in a pandemic, in 2 weeks, this movie has now made more than every Spider-Man movie total has ever fucking made. That is crazy. In 2 weeks in a pandemic, without China, where every other Spider-Man movie didn't have a pandemic and had China.
Without question, I would say probably what's even weirder, because that is, especially 2 weeks, no China. What's even weirder, or what's even more astonishing than all of that, Matrix Resurrections made $45. All right, let me stop.
Because everybody
Hated it.
So,
yo, listen. So by comparison, Matrix because it came out on Wednesday, Matrix from Wednesday all the way to Sunday
only made 20 something.
22.
Yeah.
And its actual Friday, Saturday, Sunday opening weekend made 12. Granted, this was the last, and this is a great opportunity to talk about this very briefly. This was the last film in Warner Brothers and HBO Max's day and date release schedule, which they clearly shouldn't have fucking done. And also, they changed the date because the movie was supposed to come out. All the advertisements say Christmas. It was all supposed to be Friday that it came out. And they moved it back to Wednesday because they wanted to matrix the shit, because then the date was 1-2-2-1-2-1. Trying too fucking hard to fucking feed into this, the codes and the numbers and shit. Stupid. And they shot themselves in the foot for 38 movies this fucking year. Because literally everything that came out this year with the HBO Max day and date theater release fucking bombed. Nothing made good money for them niggas.
Well, I understand that, and Lord knows I don't give a fuck about white people's money, but I appreciate y'all for dropping all this shit on HBO Max.
Listen, low key, so do I. Because all right, so this is the thing. I definitely have watched a few things on HBO Max through the course of the year. Not a lot. I watched most of the major release movies that niggas was actually interested in. But the thing is, when I think about it like this, right? I pay $20 a month for my Regal Unlimited subscription to see whatever the fuck I want at the theater.
Right.
For the low price of a 25-cent convenience fee for booking my ticket ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, with that being said, going into next year, I'm really trying to think, am I gonna fucking keep it? Did I watch enough shit on HBO Max outside of those movie releases for me to say that I justifiably was paying for HBO Max? Because low key, there was less than a movie a month that they dropped over the course of that time. So I'm like, shit, I could have low key saved that bread that I spent on HBO Max this year if those movies had been in theater.
Well, this is true, but then this also is going to lead back to a joke that I was going to make earlier that we got distracted by. So I was going to say something about the fact that when you brought up Money Heist, and you said you made it through that, and you said it's 5 seasons. You know what else is 5 seasons that's on HBO Max? The fucking Wire.
I thought it was 6, but
no, it's 5.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus Christ. This nigga.
Well, once I get through that, I'm trying to figure out is it going to be worth it to keep the hoe?
It may not be for you. It is for me because, again, you obviously are not watching or attempting to watch or care about all of the DC animated stuff.
Oh, no, I don't.
Right. See, and that's fine. That's fair. But that's why it's there for me. Because,
but it's only because there's so much shit to watch. I can't,
well, no, I get it. But I'm saying that's what pays off for me. Like, you're going to get me to keep your subscriptions if there's something regular that comes on there. Like, Hulu drops certain shows that I normally will watch, but since I don't have FX and things like that, that's going to drop those. All of the DC animated shit that I want, and I don't mean the movies. I mean just like we talking about, Batman and everything else, and Young Justice being newer. That's shit that I fucked with. So it's like that's the only place I can get it. Yeah, that's worth it for me on top of HBO's original programming, aka The Wire. So then you have things like Disney Plus, where if it wasn't for Marvel and Star Wars and me getting new Star Wars material, that was the other thing that we forgot about.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Let's just wait till next week.
I didn't watch episode 1 anyway.
Oh, well, there it goes. You ain't even watch it. So between that and, like I said, and them having The Simpsons on there, that's what makes it worth it for me, because these are high-tier things for me that I watch with regularity or that I love. So I get it. You may not want to keep it for any real reason that works for you, and that's the whole thing. Do what works for you.
But see, like, oddly enough, though, I actually like the live action shit. Not all of it, but some of the live action shit, like Doom Patrol, at least, because now they on season fucking 3, which I'm like, oh shit. But Doom Patrol season 1, I fucking loved. Swamp Thing season 1, I fucking loved. Titans, it was all right. It was good enough to watch, especially for how bad it looked before it came out.
Right.
So those are there, but those things have come out with little to no fucking promotional efforts. So I've been finding out that those things have new shit that have dropped by fucking happenstance, and not because they put in the push behind it to say, hey, it's a new season of this fucking show out, which is just trash on their behalf. So again, it's one of them things where it's like, bro, like, there's shit, no matter what, for as much shit as niggas watch, to be able to come and sit down and do a show every week and talk about all the shit that we watched, there's still shit that I'm behind on. So I'm like, how many of those things going into 2022, aside from The Wire, are on HBO Max? Or are going to be on HBO Max?
Right. Not now, a lot for you, but yeah.
For sure.
Tons for me.
But they have, granted, they have said that going into next year, though, they are now going to be moving by the updated shortened theatrical window. So instead of 90 days, it'll be 45 before shit goes to streaming. That's so fine. That's, I guess it's also kind of going to depend on what they release schedule look like going into this year. But realistically, if they dropping some heat, niggas can't wait 45 days to see that shit at the house. We got to go see that shit when it's, you know what I'm saying? So we can.
Well, with the stuff that I don't want to see that much like that, yeah, I can definitely wait a month and a half, 2 months before I get to see it. It's not a problem for me.
I mean, I'm talking about for the sake of us being timely with being able to talk about shit.
Yeah, but again,
when I'm saying when it's major shit.
Well, when it's major shit, we were going to see it anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we didn't. It's not like I chose. Okay, perfect example. I don't want to trigger you, but I'm just going to say because it's relevant. The Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's on a list of mine.
I could have, well, it ain't on one of my lists, but I could have just watched it at home. I paid for the shit. But no, I went to the theater. Well, we went to the theater. I thought we were both there.
True.
So, yeah, I haven't run into you at the theater, so we saw the shit at the theater. But again, I could have just stayed in the house and watched it. So, again, when it's major shit, I'm going to want to see it on screen. I thought that was going to be the case for the Matrix Ejaculations, but I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm not leaving the house.
But you wanted to go support Itch's elbow on the big screen.
Itch's elbow. All right. Terrible. Well, anyway. Nigga, fuck you, nigga. Like, you just don't like the Suicide Squad. And again, like I said, it didn't get as much hate as you give it, and that's fine. But at the same,
it got love. It got unlimited love.
But see, this is where we come in the opposite. And then, you know, I'm going to just touch on this since obviously if this made one of your worst lists, we're going to talk about the polar opposites of that shit. It got fairly good reviews. You don't like the Suicide Squad in the same way the shit got bad reviews, and you love that bullshit, and I don't like fucking Venom. Let there be carnage.
I didn't love it.
Nigga, you was like, oh, that shit was hard. Like, it had this, that, and the third in it. And I was so disappointed in you. Nigga, it's on the pod, so it ain't like, well we haven't, I guess until we upload it again for it to show up. But no, there's audio evidence of you lightweight praising this shit, talking about you lightweight fucked with it.
Because I don't know what niggas expected. It was a PG-13 movie with carnage, nigga. It wasn't gonna be what niggas wanted. So like, I feel like I have done a pretty decent job of learning where to temper my expectations at. The first Venom wasn't great. I didn't expect this one to be great. It was Andy Serkis. He hasn't directed anything that has been great, so I lowered my expectations a little bit more. I knew we was gonna get Woody. Pause. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, Woody lightweight don't do no wrong. So of course he did what he was supposed to do. Carnage looked dope as fuck, and we got a Venom Carnage fight. The boxes are pretty much checked because it wasn't gonna be it wasn't gonna be incredibly acted. It wasn't gonna have fucking guts and fucking gore and devastation like it should have had in it. So I just genuinely didn't expect none of that. So I literally got exactly what I expected, and therefore I was satisfied with it. Now I am, after Spider-Man now, I am disappointed because I felt like they kept that shit PG-13 for the sake of creating the crossover that would give us Tom Hardy's Venom and Tom Holland's fucking Spider-Man running into each other. But then for them to just snap him right back into his own fucking world, I feel like if that's what they gonna do, make that shit rated R and let it be what it's actually fucking supposed to be, and then give us a PG-13 Venom to go against fucking Tom Holland, which I feel like they planted the seed for officially now, which then in retrospect makes me dislike shit about Carnage now, because they need that shit to be rated R. Like, I was accepting of it being PG-13 for the sake of the crossover potential to happen in the future, and then the niggas just said, no, that's clearly not going to happen now.
Your points are valid if that was my argument. I'm going to say that first, because we had this same conversation before where you were talking about the rated R versus PG-13. I don't give a shit that it was PG-13 because I wasn't expecting a bunch of blood and gore and otherwise. That's not what makes it not a good movie. When you were saying this, I thought of, to me, the perfect comparison is saying, like, if you didn't expect much from the first Venom, so thus you're not expecting much from the second Venom, but you still got what you wanted out of that. I also didn't expect much or anything out of Ant-Man, but how did that come out to be a pretty decent movie?
Paul Rudd lightweight can do no wrong.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure there's tons of Paul Rudd shit you ain't seen. And I know you ain't seen Wanderlust because we talked about that, and that's a perfect example of some Paul Rudd shit that I know you ain't seen.
Did he do wrong in that?
No, he didn't, but that's not the point. No. But there's a lot of shit that Paul Rudd was in that's not good movies. So that my whole point is that the script, in some way, shape, or fashion, does make a difference on whether or not if that shit is good. And all I'm saying is, story-wise, structure-wise, and everything, and maybe it's Andy Serkis's direction.
It is.
It wasn't great, and that's my issue. I don't give a shit about the. Here's why I definitely don't go with the rating issue. I don't give a shit about the rating because for me to say for coming up as a kid before Venom existed and when Venom existed. It's not like Venom was in Spider-Man in comic books ripping motherfuckers' heads off where they were showing it all gory. So where do we get this privilege of feeling like that's where it should be now? Like, no, that was never the case. In 30 years of creation, Venom was created fucking 88. So here we are, 34, well, throwing shit, my math's on. So, 34 years damn near later.
Right.
Why would we be expecting the shit to be all super gory and everything just because of the implications? It's like, nah, that's never been the history of this character. The most you may get is some blood dripping off of the hands or some shit, and you get the licking ass tongue eventually. But I mean, no, it was never that. So
you said that nigga in the ATM gang?
He might be like Ash or JR. So shit. But yeah, but that's my point. So like I said, nah, fuck that. So yeah, the Suicide Squad being on one of your worst, Venom 2 being on one of my worst is definitely there. So
for sure.
Aside from that, I think at least I'm gonna get off one other one. I'm gonna put it in my favorites just because I feel like it needs, like, I haven't watched it again since the first time, but I'm just gonna throw it in there just because I feel like it needs some mention. Harder They Fall.
Oh, okay.
Just because
hadn't
like
even thought about it.
Right. And I was just going through shit when I went through the list and I was like, oh yeah, I did genuinely like that. So just as saying something, I'm going to give that a shout out strictly because on that level, but then at the same time, I don't know if I'm going to say, first I was going to say on more hoity-toity level, even though artsy-fartsy, even though a lot of motherfuckers didn't really like it, it wasn't critically loved like that. I was going to say for me, The Little Things to a degree, still because I fuck with Denzel and Jared Leto when they have some pretty decent material to work with.
Understood.
Right. Regardless of what anybody thought of that. But yeah, I'll say The Harder They Fall just because it was good, enjoyable. It was a fun romp. No different than all other Marvel shit that I've had on my list. So I will put it in that same vein. But I think I would also want to give kind of a shout out to, I'm going to throw Cop Shop in there.
I didn't see it, but I've been seeing people have it popping up in their top.
Right. Just because, yeah, I know a lot of people didn't see it, but like, yeah, it was definitely cool. But like I said, I haven't really seen a Joe Carnahan movie that I could think of that I know I was like, no, this is just absolute trash, or I don't really fuck with it. Because I mean, I even like the A-Team. I like Smoking Aces. I like Cop Shop. Narc was cool back in the day, even though it was not, since with that being one of his earlier shits, it wasn't like the other more actiony stuff that he ended up doing. But I haven't had an issue with stuff that Joe Carnahan wrote and directed or wrote.
Agreed. The last Free Guy, I didn't quite know what I was getting myself into. It was just fuck it. It's Ryan Reynolds, and you know it's Ryan Reynolds. So you know whatever. Let's go. And it was good.
Didn't dislike it. It's not one of my faves, and I mean, mind you, I have had it on occasion since then.
I feel like it has. I don't really have no like negatives for it.
I don't really have any negatives for it. I just don't overly love it. And like I said, and I've had it playing in the background, you know, at nights when I've been asleep. And it's like, it's cool, but it ain't like, oh yeah, this is the shit. Like,
but that's why I have 5 other movies above it. Right. But it's definitely just in that of all the shit I saw this year. Right. And that's not because I'm still going to continue watching shit from last year. I just, of what I've seen so far, it almost is in my top 10-ish by default type shit.
Gotcha.
For how much shit was like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, because also Ryan Reynolds, I don't have Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard up in my top. Right. But it's also not at the bottom at all.
You also don't have Red Notice.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. That's another thing. That was another one of them joints I was like, nah, I saw it. Like, yeah. Didn't hate it. It's not at the bottom, but it's definitely not at the top. It's middle of the pack as fuck. I feel like both of those are. Like, you know, so like Ryan could fucking reach out the cover of the DVD and give himself a high five type shit. They close. But the one for me, another one that kind of fit in that space was also Malignant for me because of the like weird, almost unexpected kind of twist type shit.
Got you.
So I mean but that would round out like higher up movies for me, and I am so ready to get into the destruction.
Well, I was going to say we're pretty much on that anyway because we've already addressed a couple of things that were already on my. Because, like I said, we already touched on Matrix being shitty. So that's on my worst. I just mentioned Venom, so that's there. We can go ahead and get into the one thing that I said you had forgot about it first, as far as Marvel. So we might as well go ahead and rip that one a new asshole and just.
Eternals was so dry. That shit was boring as the fuck. Now, granted, this is a movie that also gave us a couple of dope visuals and a couple of dope moments. Outside of that couple dope visuals and moments that I will not deny or take away from them, this shit sucked.
I wish I knew what visuals you're talking about because I can only think of one that I like, but that strictly has to do with things of scale. But that's personal for me.
My nigga. Arisham fucking popping up in the entire world, seeing that nigga floating outside the planet and shit. Fucking crazy.
Oh, but that wasn't Arisham though.
Who was it?
That was just another Celestial being born.
No. I'm talking about at the end.
Oh, you're talking. Oh, at the end.
Yeah. And the whole world saw that nigga just like looking at the planet like.
Well, no, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the one that was coming up out of the water.
That was dope too.
Right. That's what I love.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
But I'm saying though, like, the world has seen to a degree, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause like, I mean, beyond it's like every time that we've had some kind of alien force come to Earth, it always happens to be at New York. You know what I'm saying? So like New York has seen the giant fucking space worms and shit like that or whatever, and the Chitauri and shit like that. But that
still ain't even that. That's the same reason why I love Independence Day at the time. Cause like I said, I like grand scale shit where it's like, right, what the fuck? Like, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So like on one hand, to have an Eternal coming up out the planet, but only to have a Celestial coming up out the planet.
You're right. It just didn't stick with me the same. So now that I picture it again, kind of
like the whole world like looking up to the sky, and that nigga is like in the way of the sun, like. Right. Like what the fuck? Right. That was crazy to me. Right. And then the fact that he took them niggas, like, all right, let's go. Judgment time. It was like, oh shit, nigga, like that. That was dope for me. That was a moment for your boy.
Right.
Beyond that, just it's a couple of the characters got their own little dope moments. I thought Angelina played very well with the combat scenes and shit, and I liked visually what they did VFX wise with like her just creating the different weapons and shit. That was dope. I liked the fast one, the deaf girl. They used her well. I thought she was pretty dope. So like I said, they're just minor moments, and then a couple like few really dope ones. Aside from that, this movie fucking sucks though. It's boring as fuck. There's a bunch of dialogue that I don't give a fuck about. And I think this is one of those movies for me that gave me one of the things that I fucking hate the most, when you have a good story that is visibly there though. It's one thing to be like, oh man, if I were to try to fix it, I would say this. But when you can visibly see things that could have been dope that you would have liked for them to explore further or expound on, and they just completely stepped around it to do mediocre shit, that bothers the fuck out of me. The fact that they gave them moments of picking up a fucking random scrap of metal and then it turned into gold, and then they hand it to a little fucking caveman, and now all of a sudden they fucking advanced civilization and shit. Like, just those little tiny moments is all we got of that, versus the actual seeing some of the actual real implications of how they helped craft our future and like our progression as a species. They didn't give us that, and they could have. They just chose the fuck not to. They chose to give us more moments of these fucking pouty ass immortals and shit. Like, that shit was whack, bruh. Like, and it just bothers me to no fucking end. So yeah, this shit sucked. Not to mention that these motherfuckers, after all these fucking movies of doing shit the right way, say, you know what? Zack Snyder this shit. Drain the color. Dry ass palette. Make the whole movie gray.
Yeah, that was whack too.
Take away that bright Marvel visual that pops that everybody loves so much.
Yeah, you know what? You never really realize how important that is until when it's not there.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That shit was gray as fuck, bruh.
Right.
So yeah, the shit definitely sucked. That's high on the list of trash for this year. And I'll give you one. We already got The Matrix. Let me mark that off. That's there. Another one. Might not bother nobody else as much as it bothered me. But I literally, if you ever been down here, you see I literally have like 2, 4, 6, 8, let's say 12 DVDs across my wall. Not to mention a bunch of movies on my shelves and a bunch of movies over there on the fucking other shelf and on my desk and blah, blah, blah. I am a Saw fan. Fuck you, Chris Rock. And all that shit, nigga. Fuck you, okay? Love you for so many things, but fuck you for whatever you came up with for Saw and whatever possessed you, the comedian, nigga, to say, you know what? Jordan Peele do it. I can do it too. No. You're wrong. You suck. Okay? You fucking ruined this shit. We probably ain't gonna ever get another Saw movie because of your ass. Spiral from the book of Saw, this stupid fucking name, was a stupid fucking movie. And the only thing good that came out of this movie is the fact that it was a fucking paycheck and a dope scene for one of my favorite magicians who goes by the name of Chris Ramsey. Shout out to the Ram fam. Outside of that, this movie was trash. Samuel L. Jackson stepped up to get a check. Chris Rock stepped up to put on a fucking hat and turn it backwards in a flashback scene, and apparently that was supposed to make him 15 years younger. Fuck y'all for that shit. Samuel L. Jackson, how'd they make him younger? Gave him a mustache. Fuck y'all for that shit. That movie sucked dick. They had mediocre ass traps, a weak ass twist. This shit was trash. Chris Rock makes one face for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Good Lord. Fuck this movie. Bottom of the bottom for me.
Okay. So I'm going to throw a softball in there before we get to arguably, because I have 2 other ones outside of this softball that's going to piss some people off, but they're not going to piss you off. But I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Okay.
One softball one ain't going to go that in depth in. I'm sure you forgot about Thunder Force.
Didn't bother to watch it because everybody said this shit was awful.
Yeah. Thunder Force was absolute ass. It was spoiled Indian food in a baby's diaper.
Okay.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer having superpowers in this shit. It was just so dumb and just not funny. That's the whole thing. Because, I mean, you get these weird times between Melissa McCarthy and, damn, I'm trying to think of her husband's name. But the motherfucker that wrote Ben something, that wrote... or
The Rat?
This nigga. Forgive him. Blerds and Clips, y'all. Send all comments and hateful shit to blerdsandclips@gmail.com.
Send them right on over.
So anyway, her husband, Ben, whatever, usually directs a bunch of movies that, you know, she has like Tammy, a bunch of other shit that usually people hate. And this was just another one added on to all of this shit of just something that's completely unfunny. You working with your wife, y'all must be ad-libbing a bunch of shit. It was just not funny. So I don't really have much to say about it other than that, is that it could have been potential for something, but no, it was just not fucking funny. Fuck that movie too.
Yep. Gonna agree with you there just because you follow the sentiments of everybody else that spoke about that shit. Okay. I was actually looking forward to this one. I was kind of excited about it, and that's
why I'm waiting, because I'm thinking you're going to say one of my last 2 on here that we go off on. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was looking forward to this shit. I did still get some fire visuals, which I was able to be impressed by. That's fine. But outside of just actual beautiful cinematography occurring and shit, I have nothing good to say about Dune.
Oh yeah, I was about to say you going Dune.
This shit was ass. It was boring as the fuck for like 5 hours. I don't know how long it actually was, but that's how long it felt like. And oh my God. And then this whole shit for all that time literally just led up to us getting to a point of them saying, all right, now let's get into the movie. And right when you feel like it's actually about to start, the bitch goes off. And I don't want to see another one. So count me the fuck out if y'all decide to go into Dune Chapter 2, Book 2, Deeper Dune, or whatever the fuck y'all want to call that shit when it's time for it to come out, if it comes out, because the shit also made 75 cents, and another moviegoer donated a fucking pack of gum to go see that shit, because it didn't deserve nothing more than that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it wasn't on my worst, but I mean, I don't disagree. So
for sure,
fuck it. All right, so controversial territory, not really, but again, I'm still going to save my worst for last. I'm just going to go ahead and get this one off because I know it'll stir some shit up. Space Jam.
Oh, nigga, it was next.
Oh, it was next. Okay,
nigga,
cool.
I don't understand. You know, this is where it belongs.
Okay.
This shit is ass.
So do you have anything after this?
Oh, man, nothing like crazy.
Well, if you don't, then there's something that you forgot about.
Okay.
That
something you forgot.
That we're going to come back to.
Okay.
That is going to be full circle. So, yeah, Space Jam.
Basketball players don't need to be in front of cameras, except for when they dunking.
Rick Fox would like to talk to you. He's outside.
Okay, Rick Fox is all right.
Oh, and how you gonna say that with Kevin Garnett and Uncut Gems? See?
Nigga. There are so many bad examples that are gonna outweigh that to make the percentage bad.
No. But you said none. You basically said like none of them, and I'm like, no, there's exceptions. Because even I will take, being the fact that even Shaq doesn't take himself serious enough. There are certain times where I'll let Shaq ride. Blue Chips.
Okay.
Blue Chips. I will accept. Kazam was just terrible on its own, but when you take it for that, I'm not going to say it could have been anybody. It could have been Robin Williams and Kazam, and that shit would have been ass. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm not tearing Shaq apart because Shaq doesn't take himself serious enough. But again, like I said, if anything, I've seen Rick Fox in some shit. Other than the fact that I would say Ray Allen. Ray Allen was. He wasn't the worst of the worst, but I mean, Spike Lee did as good as he could with him, and he got game. And even for when Rick Fox showed up in that, and Rick Fox has been in some other shit where it's like, he's done decent enough that I'm not going to completely hate it. But yeah, Kevin Garnett and Uncut Gems, nah. That nigga did the best version of him playing himself that it was almost like I was looking at a fucking documentary to some degree.
Understood.
I can fuck with that. But anyway, yeah. Okay. Space Jam, no, I'm sorry. Again, I always keep fucking that movie up. Ready Player 2.
Right.
Warner Brothers edition.
That's it.
Yeah, that movie. Yeah, I don't.
Product placement, the movie.
Right.
Advertisement, the film.
Yeah, fuck that. So, yeah, we're in agreement there. But yeah,
It ain't that much to say. This shit just sucks.
Yeah, it's just product placement after product placement.
LeBron James goes, I need to find my son. Ooh, Bugs Bunny. I need to find my son. Ooh, Sylvester. I need to find my son. Ooh, Superman. For 2 hours.
Basically.
Trash. And then Don Cheadle shows up and goes, I'm Al G Rhythm.
Okay, nigga.
Like, bruh, I love you so much. Don Cheadle is amazing. And I'm sure this was a fucking check. But God, that doesn't make it good regardless. Shit was, there will never be another Space Jam.
Right. Well, who knows?
Oh, God.
It could take 20 years just like this one did.
Space Jam 3.
So
Newer legacy.
So what you got?
Everything after this is honorable mention trash.
Okay, well, I'm going to say this
for
is
me, but yeah. So we need to get off your last joint.
I'm just going to give you my solidified trash, which should be on yours, and it shouldn't be honorable mention if you forgot about it. Nigga, Coming to America.
Oh, it's here.
That's honorable mention for you?
Oh no! It's the whole thing was I was just trying to get 5 that I really fucking hated.
Oh,
the most.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was so everything else after that was only because of that. But yes, I definitely feel like I hated these other 5 more than this, but I hated this shit as much as possible.
just like the Matrix, couldn't even think of a new shun's name for it, but the Matrix Garbalations, just like that,
right?
It should not have been made. Or just like I said, what the fuck do I know? I'd have been totally okay with if the entire cast made a different movie that was not a sequel to Coming to America. I'd have been okay with that. If you want to just bring a bunch of people back and basically do the same thing, just change the story up so at least it'll be a lot more palatable. I would have been so okay with that, but they just couldn't fucking do that. They just say, hey, let's remake the movie again, which is basically the same fucking thing damn near that the fucking Matrix did. So
it's bad.
Fucking
this shit is bad. This shit's so bad.
Ass.
Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. After this shit, I don't believe the children are our future. Like, I'm just like, no bullshit. Like, what they did to Randy Watson alone, that was it.
Right.
Waited until the absolute last scene, and I can get with Randy Watson still being stuck in his heyday, still having a Jerry curl, still wearing the powder blue suits, and still never having gotten past where he was at his peak. I can get with him still doing covers of other motherfuckers' music. But the fact that he came out with the Rasputia voice instead of the Randy Watson voice, I will never forgive this nigga. Not to mention the song choice was absolutely fucking trash. Then to bring out the fucking little fat twins and shit to come out and beatbox, son of a bitch.
Especially for us to get this far in and to do that shit again.
Yeah. I mean, we are over 2.5 hours into this whole.
I was about to say, he's about to wrap this shit up, B.
Yeah, for real. All right, let me just a moment, good folks, while I change out the goddamn batteries in the camera and shit. But Vic, you can continue to devastate this movie while I fucking swap that out, and you guys will just see our fine non-moving faces for a second.
I mean, by all means, yeah. Imagine my lips are moving in this shit, or I should have like that Conan O'Brien shit where we cut the lips out of my picture and then the shits be moving. But anyway, yeah. Regardless of whatever you motherfuckers say, Coming to America, again, just terrible. Complete retread of the same things, some of the same jokes, trying to extend out things. Nothing was fresh there. Just it looked cheap under the circumstances, which is funny. I mean, as Watts would always complain about it, saying it's like it's Coming to America, and in this one, basically spent the majority of the time in Zamunda with a very, brief stay of New York. And I think I did hear a retrospective before, and I don't know if you had mentioned this, and we're saying like, when you look at the first Coming to America, it's almost like New York itself was also a character.
Yes.
And in this case, Zamunda was not really a character. I mean, it was just, that was where they were placed, but it just didn't have that same charm. Now, I mean, if you liked it, you like it. And just like we say for everything on this show, this shit's all subjective. I mean, if you fuck with it, if you love it, by all means, we're not telling you not to watch anything, whatever. That's on you and your time. But nah, there's just no way that I could just reasonably co-sign for this utter cash grab of a movie where, what, actually, now that I think about it, it actually has me a little bit more fearful of the idea of him trying to do that new Beverly Hills Cop that I think should be Netflix direct as well. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But again, it's one of those things, a franchise that we're not asking for. And again, you're doing it just because it can be done. And I just wish they would have never bothered. But,
oh, yeah, because I thought you were talking about the remake of Pluto Nash.
I would rather watch another Pluto Nash than I would watching fucking Coming to America.
Keep all of that shit the fuck away from your boy. So, yeah, there's nothing redeeming here. As Vig said, as I said, New York was a character. New York was a critical part of Coming to America. It was the America in Coming to America, and we didn't get that. We lost that, and that was a large part of the essence of the movie. You had the fish out of water story. This time, in reversing it by having the story majority happen in Zamunda, the unfortunate thing is we didn't get Zamunda. It happens in Zamunda, but we don't get an actual backdrop of Zamunda. We don't get the barber shop in Zamunda. We don't get the club in Zamunda. We don't get the apartments in Zamunda. We literally don't see Zamunda outside of the palace.
Well, that was also why I just said the movie looked cheap, because I mean, that's what it came down to, just doing everything on sets and cutting everything
And I
down.
would have been fine with that, because realistically speaking, I mean, there are street level shots in the original movie. But you could have done sound stages and created, you know what I'm saying, at least different places that could have been in Zamunda, though.
Right, but the Zamunda stuff in the first movie was about the only stuff that was really done so much soundstage, and then they did everything else was more live action. Because, speaking of which, sort of, did you watch that last season of the Movies That Made Us?
I've never seen a single episode.
Let's just say, folks, for those that can't see, I'm kind of giving this nigga the same blank face that I give him for not watching The Wire.
Is that great? I thought this was a new thing.
Well, no, it's not so much. It is, but I'm saying it's not so much about if it's that great. But I mean, it's definitively one of those documentary shows in that style that you probably should check out for, especially the stuff that you're interested in. Mm-hmm. Like, you can watch those episodes, because I mean, they are actually talking to the people that were involved in the shits, current date about what happened then, kind of thing. And the newer season, they have a Coming to America episode.
Okay.
So Eddie Murphy didn't do the shit, but I mean, John Landis did, and a bunch of other people that were on the crew and the writers and shit. So it was actually, it was way more interesting than I thought it was going to be, because they told a lot more behind the scenes shit that I was expecting.
For sure.
For that. So no, it was worth it. But what they were saying is that one of the craziest shits was, at some point, sometime in the 80s, Eddie Murphy had saw some shit where it was supposed to be like Nostradamus was predicting that a big ass earthquake was supposed to hit at some point in 87. Mm-hmm. So when they were filming the movie, all of the stuff that they were shooting at the McDowell's house and everything, all of that stuff, he didn't want to really be in California at that time, because he was convinced this fucking earthquake was going to happen. So they had to, so if you look at the movie now, they were like, yeah, they basically had to get all of his shit out of the way. So that's why you see all of his shits where like he's behind the bar or whatever, where he's rarely on screen with anybody else, because they had to hurry up and get his shit so this nigga could fly the fuck up out of Cali to not be there for the impending fucking earthquake that he thought was coming that never came. Funny. So
I feel like that's about to be the number one question he gets asked in all his interviews going forward.
I gotta wonder, because I mean, it's been out there. The new season started around Halloween, because I think the first 3 episodes were.
Oh yeah, so that's gonna be the hot new shit. Whatever he do on his next little press run.
Yeah, because the first 3 episodes, I think, were the first episodes they had in order. There were for Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely worth watching for the ones, like I said, that you haven't seen, or like I said, involving movies that you liked and you want to get a little bit more background information on.
For sure.
With them talking to folks. So yeah.
Yeah. Give me a second. Let me look at. We don't even have to get into the heavy description on none of the rest of this shit. Just so y'all know, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It was mediocre as fuck. I won't call it trash, but it definitely is the worst of those movies. Also, for me, Suicide Squad felt like damn near the exact same movie with just some improvements on some shitty parts of it, but there are still plenty of the shitty parts that are there to me. Snake Eyes, absolute fucking ass. Don't bother. Just leave it alone. And probably one of my most disappointing movies of the fucking year would be Candyman, because I had the highest hopes for this movie. Not expectations, but hopes for this shit. And that shit didn't do it.
Got you.
So that's all I have right there, god damn it. So that'll wrap it up for us here with our best and worst of 2021. We'll probably do the best and worst streaming and shows and shit that we caught over the course of the year on the next episode and shit.
Yeah, I figured you were going to say that.
Yeah, see? Look at you figuring the correct way. As always, if you guys want to holler at us, you can do so whenever you want, 24/7. 365, okay, in a whole new ass year. See, some podcasts probably taking time off and chilling and shit, or telling y'all that they get ready to go into a new season so they can have a weekend off and shit. We don't be doing shit like that. Nigga, this Blerds and Clips. We out here banging on all things pop culture, cuz. So, hit us up at blerdsandclips@gmail.com. Of course, make sure y'all following the goddamn squad at any given point in time. BKA Watts, y'all already know what it is if you want to follow your boy.
Vigatron 999.
Yeah. And coming up real soon here, we got something new coming for you from the Pro 3 ENT network. A little extension to this here show, if you will. So y'all just be on the lookout for the Daily Blerd by Blerds and Clips. We gonna be right there on y'all ass more often than just these Saturdays. You know what I'm saying? Vig be, you know what I'm saying, busy. I'm gonna be taking the reins on that and getting some extra content out here for y'all and such. You know what I'm saying? So y'all just be prepared, because that is on the goddamn way. It's en route. All right. The Daily Blerd. Okay. Presented to you by Blerds and Clips right here on the Pro 3 ENT network. There's more content from the whole goddamn network, headed y'all way. So just be ready. And, as always, if you want to tap in with us live and drop in your comments and thoughts and opinions on whatever it is that we happen to be miscellaneously talking about or begrudgingly having to fucking review and cover through the course of an episode, tap in with us live on Saturdays at twitch.tv/BKA Watts. As always, I am your boy, and we appreciate y'all niggas, man. Catch y'all on the next one. Love, peace, and goddamn chicken grease.